Hi lovelies and welcome back. It's that time again. It's time for the April wrap up. Before we do, let me show you the shirt I'm wearing today. Okay, so obviously that's just an added extra. If you don't like it, that's okay, because I didn't like the movie, right? But he is a Brisbane boy and I am a Brisbane girl. So I'm gonna support the gorgeous man. Right, let's go with the wrap up. We're gonna start with my highest rated read. So let's start with my highest ranking read this month. Now I'm gonna put it up on the screen here, Mrs. England by Stacey Halls. Now I read this one on my Kobo, stumbled across it. I was looking for something to read on my Kobo at night because I just find it easier in bed to read on my Kobo. Anyway, just got my Kobo, stumbled across it, absolutely loved it. Now this was the second book of hers I read in the month, but this was my highest rated of hers. Now this is about Mrs. England, who is obviously married to Mr. England, but they have 4 children and they get in what they call like a nurse. But it's basically like, what are they called? Why do I always forget that term? Like what we would call like a nanny, you know? Rich people have live-in nannies. This poor lady lived in the house, right? So anyway, lovely. She goes along, she notices there's something a little bit strange with Mrs. England. She's not quite sure why. Mrs. England spends a lot of time in her bed. She's really tired, some weird things going on. So I won't say too much because I don't want to give it away, but there is a lot of character development in this book with both the nurse and Mr. England and the nurse and Mrs. England, okay? And so obviously she works out and she knows there's something not right, kind of from the get-go really. And yeah, absolutely unexpected, blows your socks off at the end. Amazing, I loved it, absolutely loved it. So I'm a really big fan of Stacey Halls, which brings me to my second book for this month. Now, this was the first book of Stacey's that I read, and this one is called The Familiar. Okay, so with The Familiars, I think it's set, I can't remember when it's set, lovelies, but it's around the time of witch trials, right? So there's this young 17-year-old girl called Fleetwood. She has lost 3 children in pregnancy or birth. And then she's pregnant with her 4th and she finds a letter in her husband's office that says that she won't survive if she has another child. So she gets desperate, as you would. So she finds out about this woman who seems to be able to help women have children. And so she becomes very trusting of this lady who uses what would be considered witchcraft in those times. But obviously Fleetwood is desperate, so she does what she needs to do. Long story short, this book involves witch hunts and witch trials, which is very interesting. It's a very lovely book. I gave this book 4 stars, highly recommend it. I really liked the relationship between Fleetwood and I can't remember her name. I don't want to call her a witch. She was just, she was what we would call now is like someone who had a lot of knowledge in relation to midwifery and herbs. That's it. So it was a really lovely relationship. It was a really interesting story. And if you like something with a little sort of, I'm not going to say it's witchy vibes because it wasn't really witchy vibes, but with witch trials, then this is definitely one for you. And once again, it's by Stacey Halls and it was brilliant. With this book, actually, Jessie Burton blurbed this book and she wrote The Miniaturist. I'll put that up. That's really good, actually. That was made into a miniseries. And I watched the miniseries first, not knowing it was a book. And then I read the book. Loved it. So I recommend that one too, even though I didn't read that one this month. Okay, lovelies. The next book. This is the Benevolent Society of Ill-Mannered Ladies, which I decided to read. Was this when I was dressed as my 1950s? No, I wasn't dressed as my 1950s lady, but anyway. This book I've had on my shelf for a while and I was really looking forward to it. Unfortunately for me, this book was a 3. Now, it wasn't because I didn't like the premise of the story or the writing or anything like that. I thought All of it was great. I loved it. However, I just found it a bit slow in parts, and it just dragged on. So I sort of felt that it could have been, because it's quite big. How many pages was it? It was over 400. Yeah, 420. I kind of think it could have been like a 300-page book. So this is a historical romance about two sisters who are unmarried. And basically, long story short, they get involved in trying to help other women in difficult situations. So they kind of become a little bit like vigilantes, do you know what I mean? So really funny, and the idea of it is great, but I just felt that it was too long. Now, this is part of a series. I'm not sure what the next one is called. I don't really know if I'm going to go on. Okay, so the next one's called The Ladies' Road Guide to Utter Ruin. I don't know if I'm going to go on to read the second book. I think I need to have a think about it. If you have read the second book in this series, let me know. Let me know if you think it's better than this one. Not that I didn't like it. I think a 3 is really good. It just felt like it dragged. Like I was just like, oh, come on. Can we just kind of get to the point? You know what I mean? All right. Okay. Oh, I was so disappointed. I was so looking forward to this. I mean, look how beautiful that cover is. The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell. Now, this one, you might remember, this one, it's got a really short blurb, and I'm going to read it to you because this one had me at hello. I think I said that in my video. I'm not sure. Anyway, in the winter of 1561, Lucrezia, Duchess of Ferrara, is taken on an unexpected visit to a country villa by her husband, Alfonso. As they sit down to dinner, it occurs to her that their journey to this place has a sinister purpose. He intends to kill her. Look, lovelies, love the premise of it. I did enjoy it at times. However, at times it was a little bit sort of like, I don't like this term. People use it on YouTube. I don't like it, but I'm going to have to use it. I can't think of anything else to describe it. A bit like a fever dream, like really weird at times. That's why I didn't like it. I gave it 2.5 stars. I think the idea behind it is brilliant. I think it could have been brilliant. And I'm really disappointed to say that I didn't enjoy it. What does it say? It was shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction in 2023. I'm really disappointed. Honestly, there were times when I did really enjoy it. So there were times when the character development was really, really good. And there were parts where I really enjoyed it. But the parts where it was like really weird and, this is the word I want to use, surreal. So if you know a little bit about art, it was a little bit like surrealism, like it was just weird at times. So, yeah, not for me. I don't think I'd read another Maggie O'Farrell. The other thing is, Lucrezia really did exist, which I didn't know until the end of the book, right? So she actually existed and she did die. They don't think she died under suspicious circumstances, but there was a history in her family of people dying under suspicious circumstances via spouses. So, very interesting premise. If you don't mind that kind of surreal, weird kind of fever dream thing, then yeah, give it a go because I think you might enjoy it. But for me, it was 2.5 and I was just really disappointed. Okay, let's get to the DNFs, lovelies, because there was a few this month. I've never had so many DNFs before, which is frustrating because I could have read another book. Anyway, so the first DNF, The Beautiful Ones by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Now, I borrowed this one from the library, so that's why I don't have it here. This book sounded really good. So it was about a lady who felt she had telekinesis powers, you know, the ability to move objects without touching them, and was looking for a husband. Anyway, found this man who was a lot older who actually did shows with telekinesis, right? So anyway, the premise of it was really interesting. He was more interested in her aunt, so to speak, but it just didn't get off the ground, and it was absolutely so slow And it really, I don't know, it just wasn't what I expected. And I think because it wasn't what I expected and it was so slow, I just couldn't keep reading it. I'm trying to remember how much of it I read. I think I read about 30%, which is not a lot. Normally I'll give a book at least 40% before I DNF, but that one I just couldn't. It was just, yeah, no, not for me. Okay, the second book, lovelies, that I DNF'd was this one. Now, this is The Graves of Whitechapel by Claire Evans. This book I saw on Carly's channel at the Pasta Bookshelf. And it was about a lawyer who had got someone off for murder. And then all of a sudden, similar murders started happening again. So obviously you sort of go, okay, maybe this lawyer's a little bit dodgy. And that's fine. I was happy to read it. Now, also to give you some sort of context, I used to be a lawyer, not in criminal law though. So anyway, I started reading it. I think it was set in the 1700s, and I just found it really unrealistic. Even though I get the fact that it was meant to be a dodgy lawyer and all the rest of it, to me, it was really far-fetched. And I just thought, oh, this is ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, I'm the first person to make jokes about lawyers. Love a good lawyer joke. And there are plenty of them out there that deserve it, I'm sure, and that are dodgy. Whatever, that's fine. We understand that that's life. However, this book was just, to me, really unrealistic, and I just couldn't put myself through it. So I went, that was an early on DNF, lovelies. That was 10%. I was like, no, I am not doing this. So look, if you don't mind, sorry, I can't even recommend it. I can't find anything nice well, I didn't read enough of it either. So at 10%, I can't even say, the plot was okay. No. He was annoying, and the people he was involved in was annoying, and it was unrealistic, and I just couldn't put myself through it. And I'm now of the age at 46 where if I don't like a book, I'm not going to read it. So I DNF'd it. Sorry. Okay, now this book I was looking forward to. Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. Now you might remember, I think it was last month, yes, I read Mad Mabel, loved it. I gave that 5-star. Now Sally Hepworth does deal and dig into issues that are hard, sometimes hard topics, do you know what I mean? Difficult to read sometimes, that's what I'm trying to say. So what I'm going to say is if you read a Sally Hepworth book, just check the warnings, okay? The first one, Mad Mabel, not a problem. This one was about foster children with a lady, and it just kept getting worse. And it got to the point where I was like, this is not helping my mood. I don't want to read it anymore. I understand what occurs in foster care. I think we all understand, or what can occur, I just don't want to read it anymore. I really wanted to find out what happened in the end, but I just couldn't put myself through it. I think I read 60% of that book, maybe even a little bit more, but I just got to the point where I was dreading picking it up because it wasn't getting past that awkward, because it kept going back and forth in time, and that's what Sally tends to do, which she did in Mad Mabel, which was fine. But in Darling Girls, the back and forth I kind of thought would stop by about that time, and it didn't, and it kept going on, and it was just too much for me. So I had to DNF it. But it is a good book. I'm not saying it's not, and I wished I could have finished it, but I just couldn't do it. You know how there's some books where you just go, I just can't do it. I don't know. Look, I can't relate to how those girls were treated, but I don't know whether it's because you're a mum or whatever it is. There's some things you read and you just go, you know what, I just can't do that right now. I just can't do it. Maybe later I could pick it up and see how it ends, but No, I just couldn't. So let me know if you read it and you think I should persist, because I'm not saying it wasn't a good book, I'm just saying it got too much, so I had to put it down. Anyway, lovelies, that's my wrap up for April. Let me know if you have read any of those books. Okay, lovelies, that's a wrap for April. And if you had fun today, give this video a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel because it is very small. Comment below what was your favourite read for April, or what you're looking forward to reading in May. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.